Welcome to the Enhanced Living Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Kruger. I believe that we all have within us the power to be everything that we are meant to be and so much more. This show is a weekly dose of practical and spiritual principles, strategies, tips, and ideas to help you grow into the best version of yourself. Here's to becoming exactly who you were meant to become. I've been called a human Swiss Army knife because I'm a TV host, inspirational speaker and coach, live event MC and DJ, certified yoga and Ayurveda teacher, functional fitness enthusiast, author, husband, and dad with a voracious appetite for knowledge, and I'll be sharing real talks with successful people from all walks of life, spiritual teachers and masters, and experts in many different fields. I'll also share my own perspective that I've gained from over 20 years of diligent meditation and spiritual work so we can all experience enhanced living. Are you ready to evolve? Let's do this. Welcome back. So I've had the pleasure of running into a lot of different people at a lot of different auditions and in different roles and places being out here in LA. And there's one person in particular that I had the pleasure of running into and meeting who turns out actually knew Charisse. He knew my wife before I ever even met him and before she ever even met me. And this man is just an amazing human being who, I'm going to even just read his bio right now before I bring him on the show. So his bio reads, a native of Canada, Danso Gordon was born in Toronto and lived in Halifax, Nova Scotia before coming to LA to pursue an acting career. Always the class clown growing up, Gordon somehow knew he would turn his knack for making kids laugh and driving teachers crazy into a way of life. His first professional role came when he guest starred on CBC's Street Sense series, which was filmed in Halifax. After this experience, he moved to Los Angeles with his father to pursue a career in acting. He quickly found work appearing in a National Footwear commercial with basketball great Charles Barkley, and later appeared in the films Sliders and American History X. Danso's landed 4 series regulars over the years in Hang Time, In a Heartbeat, South of Nowhere, and Saving Hope, and countless television commercials, including Domino's, Foot Locker, T-Mobile, Saturn, Verizon, McDonald's, Time Warner, and more. He also did a Mountain Dew Superbowl commercial, which is pretty amazing. I don't know if you're an actor, landing a Super Bowl spot is kind of like the pinnacle. Now, in 2005, Dear Wendy, a film by Oscar-nominated writer-director Lars von Trier, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. Danso landed a coveted lead role in the film, which included acclaimed actors Bill Pullman and Jamie Bell. He landed his first starring role in Death of a Vegas Showgirl alongside Rosalind Sanchez, which aired in 2016. He has since focused on tech and is a part of the team that has launched the mobile app for actors to audition, Tape Squad. Danso stays busy working with Tape Squad and building his web and mobile development company, Port Boost, specializing in bootstrap tech startups. Danso, thank you so much for being here, man.
No, thank you so much. When you told me, I saw, we're Facebook friends as well. When you told me that you had this podcast and you wanted to invite me, I've never done a podcast. I'm sure that I will, but I immediately said absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, thank you so much.
I'm so happy to have you here. And first of all, you will be doing many of them because your voice is amazing. I can tell you right now that my listeners are probably like, oh, please speak some more.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk about Tape Squad real quick because you were part of the team that conceptualized Tape Squad, which is basically like a virtual audition service, right? Where the actors don't have to go anywhere to put themselves on tape to audition for a role. This came out before COVID. And now you're in a place where virtual auditions are the thing. Like, were you clairvoyant?
You know what? The universe is. I mean, it's sometimes things just work out. And because it's crazy, I'm gonna back up. But when we launched literally weeks prior to the pandemic. And obviously no one thought that this was gonna be a pandemic, right? Like a week prior to lockdown, I was with a friend and we were watching Pandemic, the movie, right? And we were like, this is never gonna happen. A week later, we're like, wait a second. And so, once we launched and the pandemic hit, and of course, production shut down, I was like, oh my God, 3.5 years planning for this thing. Oh my goodness, God, what's going on? Why? Right? And, quickly, we're like, wait a second, this is actually perfect. The timing couldn't be more perfect. And it's just, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's one of those things. It's just, things fall into place the way they're supposed to fall into place, even if it doesn't look like they're falling into place, and it was one of those things. And so yeah, we're still building, but yeah, we love, we're not happy about the pandemic, but we're happy that, it's in a space where things are focused just on self tapes. And that's what Tape Squad does. To give your readers a, basic snapshot, there's two types of auditions. There's your regular brick and mortar. You walk in, say hi, do the lines. And then your self tape is when your agent manager asks you to put yourself on tape. So you record the audition, then you send it to your agent manager. And there's offices in LA, Toronto, Vancouver, big cities that all they do is self tapes. And so we've streamlined that process. So instead of having to drive to a self tape location, you download the app, and you essentially search for a reader like you would an Uber driver. And all the readers are professional actors. And you literally social distance, stay home. You can be in your bathroom if you want, if the lighting's good, right?
Yep.
And self tape. You can edit, slate. It puts everything into one smooth video. Um, yeah. So it's the timing, essentially seems to be really, really good for it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing too, because even before the pandemic hit and before we were sort of confined to home, what
Yeah,
I had noticed was self tapes were it was skyrocketing. They called them EcoCast, they called them whatever, but
absolutely,
having to put yourself on tape was a huge thing. And I know that
absolutely.
there's a lot of people out there who have trouble finding someone to read for them and to kind of help them out. And
Yeah,
you've literally created a company or a process that makes
yeah,
this super super easy.
yeah.
So now there's something that goes obviously with, you were in the industry, you still are, but
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
but you're
Right,
now
right, right,
focused on
right,
facilitating aspects of the industry because you've evolved to that point.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. It's. We were just talking prior to this the recording, how things just evolve, right? And I mean, I love acting. I am not in love with acting. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I love creating. And I'm always going to act. It's something that I'm always going to do. Same as you. Like we met at an audition. Just to let everyone know,
Yeah.
we met. Dude, what was it 15 years ago?
Is it that long ago? Oh my
Dude,
goodness. You know what
yeah, we were at. It was Hollywood, and I remember it was the most enjoyable time that I had waiting an hour for an audition because we had to wait a long time.
I remember that.
And it was like me, you, and five other guys literally just cracking jokes the entire time,
I
right?
remember we were laughing hard.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was an independent film. I booked it. I had like three lines, but doesn't matter, man. But yeah, so we go way back. But yeah, yeah, things evolve. I'm not in love with it, but I still love it. And I went to school first for bio, went back to school for computer science, but my goal was never to work for someone, if I didn't have to. And so during summer, while my, colleagues, were out there, having the summer vacations, I'm like learning how to code. And I put together this landing page for this web idea, this startup, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I got into this pretty good accelerator in San Francisco called Founder Space. Went there for 2 weeks, and I thought that I made it. I'm like, I'm about to be a millionaire, right? So we didn't get funding, but I learned a lot about just the tech startup ecosystem. And I said, I love this. I love the fact that you can create something that could change the way people live, which is what people do. They build these platforms and it changes the way people live. And so, yeah, I just fell in love with the whole process of creating tech.
I love that. Now, there's two things I want to kind of come back to, because I know that, like me and like a lot of the people that listen to my show, you're someone who believes in the power of intention. You believe in a power greater than all of us that sort of guides us, that we're able to co-create with. And
Right,
and you had said at the beginning, when the pandemic hit, you had just launched and you were just like,
right,
why no, not now. But then you
right,
realized, you're like, no, the why is never, it's never a thing we want to ask, because everything
Preach,
is always working out for us, right?
preach, man.
And so you're a living example of this. You've come through. You've
Yeah,
seen success in the industry, and then you found a niche where you could jump in and add value to people's lives. You just said
right,
you wanted to create something that can help people change the way we live.
right,
Let's
right,
expand on that for half a second, because you're providing something right now that there's, okay, how many actors are out there right now who are living alone in their apartment in Hollywood,
right,
barely scraping by, whatever. They haven't, I'm painting like this horrible, like, apocalyptic picture, but that's not the case.
right,
But they're,
right.
they're just, no, they don't.
Rations, right,
Yeah.
right, right. The last
I'm
jug of water, right, 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 right.
I'm more
Yeah,
along the lines of, like, hey, they don't have a significant other who lives with them, who's going to help them and really help put them on tape
right,
properly. You've now added something of value to
right,
someone who can literally just download an app, throw their phone on a ring light stand, and literally put themselves on tape with a professional.
right, right. And like as you put it, that was the thought that I had when the idea came. It was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is a no-brainer. If we don't do this, someone else will, right? And
Yeah.
so this was 3.5 years ago, and I stopped everything when I got this idea, put together this team. And the idea came, I was at an audition. Remember North Formosa?
Mm-hmm.
What was it
Nine
called?
916 North Formosa.
Yeah,
Cast Studios.
jazzed. I
Yeah.
loved that place. So I'd go there for my self tapes because it was just cheaper. You pay your membership fee, but you had to bring a reader with you, and I was cool with all the people that worked there. So I just wait until they were free, and hey, can I get a couple minutes and do a couple takes, and so they would let me do that. And they would tape with an iPad,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, what's if one day you can actually be in there, and yeah, put together the team, and we just worked diligently. I'm not doing the programming. I'm more of like the acting liaison. But yeah, these guys, coded, put together the ideas, and I just guided them like, hey, this is what we need as far as acting. We need this, we need a slate, we need this. Okay, that's not going to work well for actors. Yeah, we've been doing this for, dude, for years, since we were
So many years.
teenagers, right? So I've done countless self tapes, and so um, it was an honor, and it was easy. I'm like, I know self tapes in my sleep, and so I know that this is a need, and so no, it feels good, and it's really exciting to build something that is going to help actors. Because I remember I had one pilot season. I just came back from Canada. I filmed a TV series there. I came back and had a great pilot season. I was going out at least 3 times in a week, but half of those were self tapes, and I was
Mm-hmm.
spending 25, 30, $40 each. After 2 months, that's a mortgage, right? And so, just to have a cheaper outlet and a cheaper option, and an efficient option, this just helps. It helps actors like ourselves.
It totally does. And now
Yeah,
I want to kind of sort of pivot, because, basically you're an entrepreneur. You're someone who, you decided a long time ago you didn't want to work for anyone else, so you were going to work for yourself. Which,
right,
listen, I'm all about that as well.
right,
That's
100%.
that's not to say there's nothing wrong with working for other
Hmm.
people, but
Sure,
it
sure,
it
sure.
takes a specific kind of person to go ahead and just work for themselves. Now,
Absolutely.
what would you say was the number one thing that got you through when you were kind of in that place of, like, why the pandemic hit, you had just launched,
Oh
and then
man.
now you were just like, all production was shut down? And what would you say is what carried you through that feeling of sort of like momentary despair?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's I tell everybody, entrepreneurship is not for the weak and uncommitted. It's just not. I liken it to self-development,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna face some things about yourself that you don't want to face. That's dark and it's scary and it's hard and it sucks. But when you face it, you're gonna grow. And entrepreneurship to me, it's literally self-development, with numbers. It really is, because I get why people's, I think it takes like 5 failed companies on average. Every successful business, they failed like 5 times. Don't quote me on that if there's a quote out there. I think it was that. But I get it, and I get why people may fail once, twice, and they say, I'm done. But to keep coming back, that's the resolve. And I'm telling you, if you keep coming back, you're gonna win. I'm telling you, it just takes one. People on average, they're scared of pain. And I have a high pain threshold. I truly believe. Call me crazy. I know you won't. I believe that we're here to do amazing things, and settling for something less than that is not living. And as long as there's breath in my nostrils, whatever vision that I've been told, I'm gonna work so it's manifested, period. And I believe it wants to be. And so that's what keeps me going and has kept me going in those downturns. Because listen, you're gonna have to. I'm actually gonna swear here. A lot of times people just don't want to eat shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just don't. They want comfort. But who doesn't want to be in tremendous shape and be rich, right? But Grant Cardone said this. He said that it's a beautiful thing to be rich because you can help people. Not to be rich to flaunt riches. That's just ego.
Hmm.
And what we need is a lot of people who have character, who have resources, so they can spread those resources. That's what we need. And there's this negative connotation with wealth. It's like, oh, you have to be a horrible person. It's not. It's not, black or white. You can be an amazing, incredible human being, and have resources. And so, um yeah, to make a long story short, it's just my faith kept me going when, all hell was breaking loose, continuously, continuously, continuously. And I just believe it's the person who's able to stay. I'm going to stay here no matter what. This storm will pass. I will be here standing. That's the person that I believe will win. The universe is like, okay, he really wants it. She really wants it. Okay, go ahead. And it's through that journey how that's when you grow. The reason why I've read books and started meditating on and all these things, not because I was having an amazing time, because all hell broke loose. I was going through
Yeah.
I was drowning, right? And so I was like, okay, I don't want to sit here and die. What can I do? What books can I read? And I went to South Korea even for a 2-week meditation
That's
retreat.
amazing.
Just going through pain. I went through this huge breakup, and I was like, okay, what can I grab? And I thank God for those painful situations, because they were really just opportunities that guided me to, have a more fuller understanding of myself.
I love that you look at painful experiences as opportunities to grow, because that is 100% what they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here for a second. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I just went on a little. Yeah.
no,
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love
Cool.
hearing about this because you mentioned that when you really look deep inside, you're gonna face parts of yourself that are dark and scary that you don't want to face. But when you do
Right.
face them and overcome them, that's how you grow. So I want to
Right.
know: was there anything in specific that was dark and scary that you faced that you were just like,
Oh
"Whoa,
man.
I didn't even realize this was there," or anything that you're willing to talk about, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a
what
lot.
one thing that you faced that was dark and scary that after you really looked it and stared it straight in the eye and said, "You know what? No, I'm bigger than this and I'm better than this," and you
Right.
overcame it. What can you tell us? Maybe one thing about that.
Um. Yeah. No. It's God. There was a lot. I'd say one of my lowest points was both my parents passed and within 2 years. And prior to that, I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, I can go through. I'm a strong person. And it was the first time that I felt, okay, um, I I need help, or I can't just, walk through this. I need to sit down and I'm bleeding, and it was humbling. It was really humbling. But there were so many other hurts and pains that I had that I didn't know. Like, when you have your adrenaline and you're just running, and like I have a meetup. I've been doing this for like 15 months now, where we talk about spiritual development and financial literacy, mainly spiritual development, and we talk about these things. The reason why I created the meetup is to do what we're doing right now, is talk about these situations in life that we don't talk about.
Hmm.
There's people right now that woke up and they were crying,
Yeah.
and they go into their, work. Hey, how you doing? And they're not able to have honest conversations, or if they have honest conversations, there's not beneficial feedback, that's enriching. And but this is real life, and to be able to look and see, wow, I'm still hurt about things that happened even a decade ago.
Hmm.
A divorce, or another breakup from years ago, or something that happened, and to be able to face that, um, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You have to go ahead and bleed it out, cry it out. Um, but it's exciting because I knew that I've never been really scared of much, more so as I grew older. Um, you know, I was excited, and I am excited when I see things that I need to start. I know that I'm gonna become better, that I'm gonna grow. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So
I do.
I know it doesn't feel good right now, but I know it's good for me. Um, and so yeah, I'd say the past I'd say 3 years, while building Tape Squad, this is when I went through this period when I was like, wow, there's so many hurts that I have, but I'm thankful to know now, instead of bleeding on other people that love me and taking that into my relationships. Um, and that's easy to do. It's easy. So it's good to just clear out some wounds.
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to, when you're doing personal development, right? It's like imagine you are a gigantic mansion and there's 180 bedrooms in this mansion, right?
Right,
And each
right,
bedroom the door is closed. And you open up a bedroom and it's dark in there and you shine your flashlight and you're like, "Oh, that's what's all in here. Let me clear this out real
right,
quick." It's kind of like
right,
shining that light in
right,
the darkness. You turn on the light and it's all of a sudden it's not so scary anymore and you're
right,
going, "Okay, I see where this
right,
is coming from. That's what's
right,
causing the pain in my life. Okay, all right.
right,
Let me put this to
right.
bed. I'm gonna grow now. I'm gonna be a better person because of this.
Let me clear this up and become, yeah, yeah. And that's why we always say, is it's the most important work that you'll ever do, is working on yourself. It's the most important work. So many people are looking for love, but they don't even know how to love themselves.
Yep.
And so they go into these relationships not as full as they can be. You never reach this. There's never the mountaintop, but it's the growth and it's the progress is what you're after. And I can trust someone who's putting in that work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can
Yes.
trust someone else that I'm in a relationship with, who's putting in that work, because I know next year they'll be better, and vice versa. I want to be, I'm single, not married, but I want to be, and until I'm there, I'm putting in the work, so I'm the best version of myself for them. And I want my wife to do that. Then I want our children to see both parents, putting in the work and modeling. Modeling is the most important thing in the world. You
So
can tell
true.
them anything, but if they see mom and dad go through challenges and say, no, 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 no worries, it'll work itself out. My God, how is that modeling? Like, they're being set up at such a young age, and that's what excites me about having children. The things that I want to teach them. I want to have a stock real estate portfolio when they're 12. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so yeah, it's just the most important work that you'll work on. But it's scary. It's scary. You look at things that David Goggins says it best. Just doing things that suck, that's how you grow. Going to the gym sucks, but that's how you grow. Eating healthy a lot of times sucks, but that's how you stay healthy. It's I'd rather go through that suck than the suck of not doing it years down the road, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's, like they say, a penny of prevention is worth a pound of cure or whatever,
There you go. Yeah.
but but here's the thing, like, and I know you're going to resonate with this because for most people who are eating garbage and who aren't working out,
Sure.
yes, going to the
Yeah.
gym sucks. We're eating healthy sucks. But for someone who's been doing it for a while, it doesn't suck anymore. You enjoy it. You
You
look
know what?
forward
That's a
to it.
great point.
You miss it when you don't go. So
That's a
again,
great point.
it's all about the framing. Like, I know you
Yeah.
are a healthy and fit person and you
Right.
don't hate going to the gym. You like
Right.
going to the gym. You hate not going
Right.
to the gym. So
Right. 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 Right.
do you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah.
again, it's all about perspective. That's what I always say.
Dude,
It's about
I
how you
love it.
look at it. When you change the way you
Perspective.
look at things, the things you look at change. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of how I've always tried to live my life. It's how I turned my own life around in a matter of a year. For my listeners, about my change from 2017 to the end of 2018 and how everything shifted. And so it's one of those things where the only thing that changed wasn't my skill set, it wasn't my opportunities, it
Yeah.
wasn't anything other than my mindset. And
Right.
so that kind of brings me to, for you, like you said, that you came through this with faith, but it was also perseverance. You persevered. You didn't give up.
Right.
You have this feeling of, I mean, from everything you're saying and from what I know of you, you know, obstacles be damned. Forget it. I
Right.
don't care.
Right.
I'm gonna persevere. And so
Right.
it's that intention that you set with that faith and belief is what gets you through at the end of the
Right.
day, right?
100%. 100%. And it's mindset, but it's something. It's a muscle that you build. It's like going to the gym, and like, I've had 3.5 months of not going to the gym. The gym just opened up. This is my fifth week of going back to the gym, and it's sucking less. I hit the treadmill. I'm just like, dude, I can't even. What am I, 12 again? Right? Look at my like arms. I'm like, geez. I was doing like outside workouts, but it's not the same.
No.
But this is the fifth week, and my strength is coming back. I'm maybe at 70% now, and I'm starting to feel strong again. I could have easily said, you know what, dude, this really hurts. And I did the past 2 weeks. I did not want to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's not even about. It's saying, okay. Kobe had this one. He was being interviewed, and he said something that just resonated. He said, "I made a commitment, and that was it. That's it.
So powerful. It's so
That's
true.
it.
Yeah.
I made the commitment. I say I'm going to the gym Monday through Friday, unless it's just bad for my health. My leg is broken or I have a cold and it's just, it's not wise. If it's just that, oh, I just don't feel, that's not even an option. I am going to the gym. Do you know what I mean? Period. When it's
That's the
time to
Mamba
read,
mentality.
I am reading. When it's time to wake up and meditate and do affirmations, there's many times I don't want to. I want to watch some funny YouTube videos, but I know to get to where I want to get to, I got to do the work. It's not feelings be damned. It's not, a lot of times people get in their feelings way too much, man. What's your diet? And that's why a lot of times people they're just not hungry, which is totally fine. We've all been in spaces where we're not that motivated. And I tell people, just keep living. Life is going to punch you in the face so hard that you have a choice, right? Either you get bitter or you get better. The choice will be very clear. And once life punches you in the face, and you're motivated to get better, there's no looking back. There's no looking back.
It's true. It's true. It's funny. I've said this a bunch on the show too, and I always think I remember seeing this on a billboard once, and it was for Arrowhead Water, and I remember laughing to myself because I'm like, I don't know how this applies to water necessarily, but honestly, like, this is an amazing motto for life. And the tagline on this was, "Better has no finish line." In other words,
Wow.
you can always be better at whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
And so when you talk about, making that mindset change, right, and just making the decision to do something, and that's it. There's no way around
That's
it.
That's it.
I apply that to my own meditation practice every day because I'm committed to meditating every single morning and every single night. That's just my thing, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so of course there are days where I don't feel like it. Of course there are days where I wake up because I didn't get enough sleep the night before because I was too busy working or because whatever, and I wake up in the morning and I just want to go back to bed, or I just want. But it doesn't matter what I want to do. It's I know what I need to do, because if I don't meditate in the morning, then my day isn't right.
Right.
So You
Right.
have to be committed. It's really about making that commitment to yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's that Mamba mentality. I love, by the way, I also love how you can just say Kobe and everyone knows who you're talking about. The
Yeah.
man's so famous you don't even need to
Yeah.
you don't even
Yeah.
need to say his last name. It's just
Yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Kobe,
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
so so
All
but
facts.
but so exactly.
All
We were
facts. Yeah.
we were talking meditation before, and you said that you went to South Korea for a meditation retreat for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting experience. I'm thankful that I went. But yeah, I was going through a hard time. Went through a breakup with someone that I was with for a really long time, and that was 2015. I think it was 2015. Wow, time flies. And
Space.
uh, but it was right before that I started doing this a Maum meditation.
Hmm.
I did that for a couple of months, and their headquarters is in South Korea. So I went there. An interesting experience. I'm definitely thankful. But the whole point of me saying that was I was looking for anything that I could do to get me out of where I was. And that's why I always say I love when people go through pain. And I'm not saying like I love seeing them cry, but it's like that's the best motivator in the world. Kingdoms were built from pain, from tragedy. It's I don't know why the world is set up the way it is, where pain is your best teacher if you metabolize it correctly. It just is. It's there to get your attention and say, hey, listen, dude, I've been trying to tell you. I'm gonna knock a little louder, right? I'm trying to get your attention because I'm trying to get you to see who you've always been. And those painful situations in my life um have they've done that. I've started reading books I never would have read when I was just super happy. You know what I mean? I'm like, where's the next club? You know what I mean? Where's the bar at? But it's the painful situations, if you metabolize it correctly, man, that's your best. People ask a lot of times, where's my opportunities? Where are your problems? Do you know what I mean? Attack those, and see what is it trying to teach you? A lot of times people go through a breakup, they're like, oh, they were crazy. They were crazy. Okay, what did you do that wasn't right? Do you know what I
Takes
mean?
takes
Like
two. It takes
it
two.
takes two, like forget what they did. What did you do that wasn't right? And how can you become a better version of yourself? And why not daily work to become a better version of yourself for the next person that you're with? Why not? Why not leave this whole world empty? Like that's my idea. Leave it empty. Like squeeze out all the potential. Just leave it on the dang floor. Like just that's my thought. Like why not? And I believe that's what we're here to actually do. And I believe that we spread. It may sound cheesy, but we spread love in the process.
First of all, that's not cheesy at all to me, and I
To
think
you,
that's
yeah, I
and
know to you, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that that's what life really is all about. And when you say squeeze everything out of it, I know you're not saying take the earth and just use all the resources. You're saying
Right, right,
literally
right, right, right,
become the best version of yourself, which is exactly what this whole show is dedicated towards.
right,
And
right.
so I love that you say that pain is an amazing motivator, and it is. And I think that we are doomed to repeat our mistakes and we are doomed to relive our circumstances until we learn the lesson from them, because once you learn that karmic lesson, you move
Amen,
forward.
amen,
As soon as you
amen,
incorporate the lesson and become a better human being through the
amen,
experience that you're in, right,
amen,
you're not going
amen.
to be doomed to repeat it because you're going to be awake and
amen.
aware enough to avoid it the next time.
I love it.
You know
I
what I mean?
love it. Yeah, that's a
You
beautiful soundbite, man. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, this is what I love about this show is just being able to have these amazing, open, and honest conversations with
Yeah.
amazing, open, and honest people.
Thank
So,
you, man. Thank
this
you.
is awesome. I want to know. You had said that there are books that you've read
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have read when you were looking for the club. But
Right,
when you were in when you,
right.
when you were
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
going to the
pain
liquor
moment.
store. That's where I'm going. I'm like, can I get some of that Smirnoff, please? That Sky Vodka. Give me that Sky Vodka. Um,
Tell
but
me,
yeah,
which one would you say, and you can give me maybe a top three of the most influential ones.
first book that I ever read. I grew up super Christian. I was wearing like
Hmm.
ties when I was 3. I'm not Christian now, but I don't judge anyone's religion or belief system, and neither should anyone.
Which is very Christian of you, might I interject?
Which is and the
Judge not.
idea, right, which in Christianity to me is without all the other, dogma, it's just love,
Yep.
and that's what I'm about, is just love.
Hmm.
Um, um, so yeah, so
You grew up
the first,
Christian.
yeah, so yeah, the first, thank you. I'm like, where was I again? I was at the
Sorry.
club. I was at the club. Yeah. So I grew up Christian, and the first book that I read was Joel Osteen's "Your Best Life Now," which was like segueing into spirituality without, is yeah, segue, something like that. And
Right.
so I read that multiple times, like, wow, wow. And I probably read that book 40, 50 times. I would read it
Wow.
daily. And every time I read it, I'd get something new from it. Um, and years later, I'd say now for sure, The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy is my ultimate favorite book. I read
Wow.
that daily. The meetup that I host, we talk about that book every day, and Robert Kiyosaki's the four quadrants, the four cash quadrants,
Hmm.
something like that. Amazing book. So yeah, those the
That's
Joe,
one.
my guy, my guy. You put up a lot of books that I'm like, ah, I love that book, and I love that you read those books. They're life-changing books. I tell everybody, man, reading is, my God, reading is it. Reading is it. Any problem that
Yeah.
you have, uh, Will Will Smith said it in some speech. Reading and running. If you have a problem, someone put the solution in a book. Running. When you get tired, keep going, and you realize you have more in you. So, uh, but
So
yeah,
true.
um, but yeah, Joel Osteen's "Your Best Life Now" started me off, and right now, my ultimate favorite book is "The Power of the Subconscious Mind," hands
Power
down.
of the subconscious mind. Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah,
power of the subconscious mind
that's it.
is infinite. It's
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
that's
Yeah,
where all your power is,
yeah,
in your
yeah,
subconscious.
yeah. And like once you realize that, what we talk about, it's hard to not be confident. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to not
Yeah.
be confident when you realize who you are. Who you are. I don't care what you've been through, who said anything about you. When you know who you are and you're put here for a reason, it's hard not to be confident. It's hard not to be confident. And once you get that inside of you, that's why reading is so important, because you build confidence when you read. We go to school, and I was a bio major. I read biology books. It was boring, but I read them. And I gained confidence in the subject of biology, in the
Hmm.
subject of chemistry. Once you start reading about books about the subconscious mind, you start gaining confidence in who you are. It's impossible not to. Once you're like, wait a second, I don't just have to be reactive to the situation. I can co-create. Yeah, I know it sounds, not for you, but for a lot of people, mumbo jumbo. It's not. I'm telling you, it's
No.
not. It's you are powerful. And reading these books, it's life changing. It's life changing.
Yeah, I look at a good book or pretty much any book because you can learn from just about any novel
Absolutely.
that's ever been written. It's like a little key that unlocks a certain point in your consciousness where you're just like, "Oh, cool. I
Yeah.
have access to this now."
Right.
I've
Right.
literally read books and watched my life change over the course
Right.
of the book. And by the time I finished the book,
Right.
I was a different person,
Absolutely. It's
you know?
incredible. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible.
That's amazing. So what's lighting you up right now? I know obviously we're still in the throes of, well, I mean, lucky for you, you're currently in Halifax, so you've
Right.
got things a little bit easier.
Yeah, we have 10
But
people here, so everything easy to
they
social
all
distance. Yeah.
they all know each other, and
Right,
you're social distancing together because
right. We all make
um,
personal Zoom calls every day to see what I was doing.
but so what's lighting you up now? What's got you so excited for now moving forward?
Tape Squad. The focus is building Tape Squad, and I have a web development company where we build mobile apps. And just signed a new client yesterday. And so that's just the focus, is just building that out, and just continuing to strive to be the best version of myself. That's just the focus, is just continue building, and continue growing, and just you know, doing the best that I can. I'm at that.
I love that. It's amazing because with everybody that I get to interview, there's this common thread of I just want to be the best version of myself, and
Yeah,
it's so amazing to see because if we could all, everybody, I mean every single person in this world, just strive to be the best version of ourselves.
yeah,
Can
yeah.
you imagine how
The world
amazing
would be a
things would
better.
become?
The world would change. Like I tell everybody, like you can't legislate love. Denzel said it best. You can't legislate love. I'm gonna create this. The government needs to actually change. Like your mindset needs to change. Then
Yes.
everything else it'll take care of itself, man. Like it's your mind. Once people realize how powerful they are, it's like you're sitting on gold, man. You're sitting on gold. Les Brown said it best. He said the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because all the talents and gifts and businesses and ideas that were supposed to be spread out into the world to make the world a better place wasn't, because for whatever reason, either it be fear, or they weren't programmed to believe who they truly are. They lived a life that the majority of people live, and they just died. And there's so much more. I just truly, you know I know that you won't call me crazy. I just believe in people. I believe every human being's great. I believe if you're breathing, you're great, and you're here for a great reason. I believe that, man. Any human being, like, no, people need what you have. And the world will be a better place once people realize that and put the work in, man. And yeah.
I just said the exact same thing. I said everybody's a genius at one thing. Everyone is a
Right,
genius at something.
right,
Everyone has
right,
something
right,
that
right.
they
Yes,
excel at
yes,
better than everybody else. And
yes.
everyone has a gift that they can share with this world in some capacity. And
Yeah,
so I love that you just said, don't take your gifts to the grave. And I think that's
right.
a great place to end on right here.
Awesome.
This is the message from Danso. Like, don't take your gifts to the grave.
Yeah,
Let them come out.
yeah.
Man, thank you so much for being here today with
I
me and
appreciate you,
and
Adam.
and sharing your story with everybody. This has just been so enlightening and so wonderful. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Adam. Likewise. I definitely love what you're doing, man, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Enhanced Living Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to reach me directly at enhancedliving.net. Thanks for listening.